Stories by Langston Hughes, The Ways of White Folks. Passing, Chicago, Sunday, October 10th. Dear Mom, I felt like a dog passing you downtown last night and not speaking to you. You were great, though. Didn't give a sign that you even knew me, let alone I was your son. If I hadn't had the girl with me, Ma, we might have talked. I'm not as scared as I used to be about somebody taking me for colored anymore just because I'm seen talking on the street to a Negro. I guess in looks I'm sort of suspect proof, anyway. You remember what a hard time I used to have in school trying to convince teachers I was really colored? Sometimes, even after they met you, my mother, they wouldn't believe it. They just thought I had a mulatto mammy, I guess. Since I've begun to pass for white, nobody has ever doubted that I'm a white man. Where I work, the boss is a Southerner and is always cussing out Negroes in my presence, not dreaming I'm one. It is to laugh. Funny thing though, Ma, how some white people certainly don't like colored people, do they? If they did, then I wouldn't have to be passing to keep my good job. They go out of their way sometimes to say bad things about colored folks, putting it out that all of us are thieves and liars or else disease, consumption and syphilis and the like. No wonder it's hard for a black man to get a good job with that kind of false propaganda going around. I never knew they made a practice of saying such terrible things about us until I started passing and heard their conversations and lived their life. But I don't mind being white, Ma, and it was mighty generous of you to urge me to go ahead and make use of my light skin and good hair. It got me this job, Ma, where I still get $65 a week in spite of the depression. And I'm in line for a promotion to the chief office secretary if Mr. Weeks goes to Washington. When I look at the colored porter who sweeps out the office, I think, that's what I might be doing if I wasn't light-skinned enough to get by. No matter how smart that boy gets to be, they wouldn't hire him for a clerk in the office. Not if they knew it, only for a porter. That's why I sometimes get a kick out of putting something over on the boss, who never dreams he's got a colored secretary. But Ma, I felt mighty bad about last night, the first time we've met in public that way. That's the kind of thing that makes passing hard, having to deny your own family when you see them. Of course, I know you and I both realize it's all for the best, but anyhow, it's terrible. I love you, Ma, and I hate to do it, even if you say you don't mind. But what did you think of the girl with me, Ma? She's the kid I'm going to marry. Pretty good looking, isn't she? Nice disposition. The parents are well fixed, her folks are German Americans, and don't have much prejudice about them either. I took her to see a colored review last week, and she thought it was great. She said darkies are so graceful and gay. I wonder what she would have said if I told her I was colored, or half colored. That old man was white, but you weren't. But I guess I won't go into that since I've made up my mind to live in the white world. And I found my place in it, a good place. Why think about race anymore? I'm glad I don't have to. I know that much. I hope Charlie and Gladys don't feel bad about me. It's funny, I was the only one of the kids light enough to pass. Charlie's darker than you even, Mom. I know he sort of resented it in school when the teachers used to take me for white before they knew we were brothers. I used to feel bad about it too then, but now I'm glad you backed me up and told me to go ahead and get all I could out of life. That's what I'm going to do, Mom. I'm going to marry white, live white, and if any of my kids are born dark, I will swear they aren't mine. I won't get caught in the mire of color again, not me. I'm free, Ma, I'm free. I'd be glad, though, if I could get away from Chicago, transferred to the New York office or the San Francisco branch of the firm, somewhere where what happened last night couldn't ever occur again. It was awful passing you and not speaking. And if Gladys or Charlie were to meet me in the street, they might not be as tactful as you were, because they don't seem to be very happy about my passing for white. I don't see why, though. I'm not hurting them any, and I send you money every week and help out just as much as they do, if not more. Tell them not to queer me, Ma. If they should ever run into me and the girlfriend any place, maybe it would have been better if you stayed and they had stayed in Cincinnati. And I'd come away alone when we decided to move after the old man died. Or at least we should have gone to different towns, shouldn't we? Gee, Ma, when I think of how Papa left everything to his white family and you couldn't legally do anything for us kids, my blood boils. You wouldn't have a chance in a Kentucky court, I know, but maybe if you tried anyway, his white children would have paid you something to shut up. Maybe they wouldn't want it known in the papers that they had colored brothers, but you was too proud, wasn't you, Ma? I wouldn't have been so proud. Well, he did buy you a house and send us kids through school. I'm glad I finished college in Pittsburgh before he died. It was too bad about Charlie and Glad having to drop out, but I hope Charlie gets something better to do than working in a garage. And from what you told me in your last letter about Gladys, I don't blame you for being worried about her, wanting to go in the chorus of one of those South Side cabarets. Lord, but I know it's really tough for girls to get any kind of a job during this depression, especially for colored girls, even if Gladys is high yellow and smart. But I hope you can keep her home and out of those South Side dumps. They're no place for a good girl. Well, Ma, I will close because I promised to take my weakness to the movies this evening. Isn't she sweet to look at, all blonde and blue-eyed? We're making plans about our house when we get married. We're going to take a little apartment on the north side in a good neighborhood, out on one of those nice, quiet side streets where there are trees. I will take a box at the post office for your mail. Anyhow, I'm glad there's nothing to stop letters from crossing the color line. Even if we can't meet often, we can write, can't we, Ma? With love, from your son, Jack.